Hello, everyone, and welcome to our second panel for today called Building a Strong Ecosystem for FinTech. How can Cyprus and other countries in the region foster a vibrant ecosystem for FinTech and startups, including access to capital, mentorship, and networking opportunities? For that, I would like to call on stage Mr. Mario Stanoussi, CEO of Cyprus Invest, Mr. Alexei Kubarev, co-founder and member of the board of directors of Tech Island and co-founder of Palta, Mr. Nazir Zubairi, CEO of Loft Foundation, Mr. Nikolas Xenofontos, managing director of SALVUS Funds, and Mr. Yuri Romanjuka, CEO of iClub Global. So let's dive in. So allow me first to start by asking, what opportunities does the FinTech ecosystem create for startups? Like, what do you believe that an ecosystem could actually give to a startup?
Shall I take this one? So, I mean, a startup in itself needs an environment to grow. So it needs government incentives to support it to establish itself and then to be in a position to take some advantages, because startups fail for a reason. Number one is the cost. Number two is the team. Then you need, because of the team, you need a lot of talent, different disciplines, different skills required. Some of them are hard skills, some of them are soft skills. And the third thing might be just where I come in, and if you're touching upon offering anything that is regulated, you need a regulatory framework that doesn't have a big barrier of entry, and you can navigate through.
Thank you as well. And I'll now go to Nikolas, because based on that, I'll give it to Nikolas to get his opinion on the following. Do you actually feel that, because you're in the industry for many years and you're running a very successful company in terms of regulatory approaches, you have been dealing with many foreign investors, so do you think that Cyprus and the region has actually implemented a progressive and supportive regulatory environment for FinTech companies? And if so, why? Why do you believe that? And how do you envision Cyprus contributing to the global FinTech landscape, and what role does regulatory compliance play in nurturing this ecosystem? It's a long question, I know.
To start from what Mario said and from your question, I know for a fact that Invest Cyprus doors are open, because I have reached out for a number of projects, and we met and we discussed. Not everything can be done, but for sure our experience with Invest Cyprus is that it is transparent, it is open, it is approachable, and it is effective, because we have had successes. Now, Cyprus and the region. Cyprus is I mean, listening to Nasir and also to Alexei mentioned Greece, mentioned Luxembourg, we live in a world that we don't need one recipe to succeed. And I don't know if anyone has a question here as to whether Cyprus is succeeding. Cyprus is succeeding, Luxembourg is succeeding, and Greece, as I know, is succeeding as well, following different combination of things. Now, the regulatory environment, and when we say regulatory environment, we're talking about services that require an authorization. This can be investment services, it can be payment services, this can be crypto asset services. In the last 10 years, and more so in the last 3 years, the regulation around the region and in Cyprus in particular has stepped up. The most dominant regulation around the world at the moment when it comes to cryptos is MiCA, and it's a European regulation that CySEC has embraced with their own crypto asset services providers regulation. But not only that, when we're dealing with the Central Bank of Cyprus when it comes to payment services, or the Cyprus Securities and Exchange Commission when it comes to investment services, we don't see that we're dealing with, and don't take me wrong, with dry bureaucrats. we're seeing that we're talking to people that understand the reality of the market. They understand what a piece of regulation means in real terms for them, for the regulated entities to operate. And in a way, I see that we are entering a period where, especially for Cyprus, the attraction of fintechs have been so, let's say, phenomenal for many reasons that nobody has a room to drop their performance, their level, and this includes the regulators. So progressive, yes, still going back to a question I had here a year ago, progressive, yes, but a year ago I was asked whether a regulator shall be a leader or a follower, and I said a regulator must be a very good follower, definitely not a leader, because you need to give the entrepreneur, the startup, the fintech, some room to run ahead, but be close and catch up, because you need to keep things within a framework.
Sure, and I have to say that we see very quick steps from regulators on that one. Like we see that CISEC's Innovation Hub, Central Bank's Innovation Hub are excellent initiatives. And
Central Bank has really stepped up their game. CISEC led that wave. But yeah, definitely progressive, not leading, and I don't believe they should be leading.
Yeah, totally agree. Thank you so much, Nicola.
It's true that they have done.
I'll take it from you, because on this point, why? Because you've touched a very, 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 very important point here. So we all know, like, the higher the risk, the higher the return, etc. So we understand where the systemic banks are coming from, and it's quite natural. But I'll also pass it to Nikolas on this one, because it's more like, where is the right balance? Like, how can startups strike the right balance between innovation and regulatory compliance? For example, we see a totally different risk appetite in banks, which is very natural. But for startups, though, of course they will take some risks, it goes without saying, because they need to try their limits. They need to see where is the right balance, Nikolas? What's your opinion on that, based on your expertise?
A small side note, I agree 100% with what you said. At the same time, I know it is a journey for our banks in Cyprus because they have been traumatized. But your voice here, it's part of a gentle push that is needed publicly to tell them, okay, enough is enough. We've been through that. We're healthy, as Mario said, and they should become more open. The balance between startups and regulatory compliance.
And you do have 60 seconds, because I really have to close the panel.
Okay, so
thank you.
Last night I received an email that many people in the audience probably received as well. The email was from Revolut, and they said that they're going to be complying, as of today, they're going to be complying with the travel rule for their crypto transfers, crypto deposits and withdrawals. And they're going to be using a service or a provider called something, I don't remember everything, but it was an acronym that stood for trust.
Yep.
Okay, so adding on to what Yuri said, that this year maybe you shouldn't go around trying to raise capital, you should focus on building a customer relationship. If you can survive, because the life of a startup is harsh, if you can survive, you should really pay attention to building a loyal customer base, to establishing trust. There are many ways to do that. But it is not an understatement to say that if you want to survive in the long term, you need to establish trust. So it is a balancing act because of the profitability aspect, and you need to take some risks, you need to push the barriers, but you cannot do that at the expense of trust.
So we can sum it up in 2 words: stay away from systemic risks and ensure consumer protection.
Consumer protection for sure. Systemic risks, sometimes you don't have a choice, but yeah, if you can do that, do that. And maybe you can mitigate your risks. I mean, some risks you have to take.
Thank you so much. That It was an amazing panel. I wish I had one more hour to continue this discussion. There are so many things we haven't touched upon yet, but unfortunately, we'll have to close it for today. I will summarize our discussion on the fact that we have noted that for a country to position itself as a leading hub for fintech innovation needs a combination of financial infrastructure, favorable regulations, strong academia industry ties, access to capital, good flight connectivity, but Mario said this will be resolved. It's already in the agenda. International connectivity, a vibrant fintech community, and we have also discussed about the path for Cyprus and the region and what it takes to foster a vibrant ecosystem for fintech startups. Thank you all. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us. Thank you for being with us and touching this topic, and I really do wish to have more time next time to discuss it even further. Thank you for being with us today. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.